So let's get into it. Some of the basic human psychology traits and things that humans deal with on a daily basis, like greed is huge, right? So I think that's something that a lot of people really struggle with is greed and feeling like they have to have more money when if they don't have the amount of money that they need, that they're not enough, right? So that's something a lot of people probably struggle with, but it's like a constant chase for money, right? So a lot of people call it the rat race, and recently, the last couple of years, and recently, there's been a lot of influencers that probably push the need for more money. We got people like Andrew Tate's name one. They got kind of have this hustler's mentality, which there's absolutely nothing wrong with. I can support hustling. If you're a young man, I think it's very important that you should be hustling and putting your best effort into working and trying to better yourself as a man. But it gets to the point with a lot of people where kind of, I guess, money can become an idol, and it's kind of the only thing they can see. I've seen videos before online, like young men, people my age, right? So they're just completely devoured by the greed and the desire for more money and material possessions. So I think that there's kind of a healthy medium to develop, but yeah. So I guess it can be difficult to find a position or find a good place for the healthy medium, but I guess that goes for most things in life, right? So kind of got to find a good in-between place, not be completely consumed by the chase, constant need for more, and whatever that is, right? A lot of people struggle with addiction, with drugs. There's a lot of homeless people on the streets. Not everyone knows their stories. I guess we as people tend to judge a lot, right, really quickly. But yeah, I guess with money, we often see people with more money than ourselves and think of them as better than ourselves, which a lot of times isn't even necessarily the case. Like, more money doesn't mean that someone's a better person than yourself, right? So it's always a interesting subject, and more money doesn't necessarily mean you'll be happier. Like, there's been countless kings on this planet, right? Yeah. There's a lot of people, struggle with mental health and exhaustion. The need for more money isn't always it's not always probably a healthy thing. It's probably possessed by, but at the end of the day, you learn to just keep pushing forward and keep grinding every day. I'm probably going rabbit trail here, but my YouTube this channel is meant to be a place for discussion, whether that's whatever we're posting about, whether that's cars, work, who knows what, like the way people feel, psychology, anything. Like, that's kind of my goal, is to build like a YouTube channel, right? It's not just kind of dedicated to one subject. Like, that's kind of a lot of channels are. I guess it's harder to blow up that way, but it's not really my main focus to blow up. My main focus is on to build a community of people who are like-minded, right? And people who I can potentially help support in the future and that kind of thing. So that's probably pretty big for me. That's probably kind of what I'm more aiming for. I know I'm probably going off on a lot of rabbit trails, but that's how it is, right? So deal with it. So yeah, I think greed is something. I don't think I personally struggle with greed, but I know I've been day trading for the past year and a half or so. So I guess it's something you'll tend to encounter a lot in trading, is greed, right? Knowing when to take profits off the table and such. And even with crypto, I still hold some cryptos, but there's always the fear and greed index, so you can always look at that. Even with stocks too, you see, if I think it was last week, or sorry, 2 weeks ago, we had the stock market crash, or crash. It wasn't really a crash, but the market dumped a little bit, and there's so much fear, right? And now obviously, I think the market was probably due for a little correction, but it wasn't really a crash, and you can see how much fear there is behind it. Like the media starts posting about it, right? The market's down. The market in Japan is actually crashing. I think it dropped. It was 6 or 8% in a day, which is that's a large drop, right? So if the S&P ever dropped that much in a day, we'd be hearing about all over the place, all the news and everything. So it's interesting to think about. But yeah, greed's definitely one of the more prevalent things that in a lot of people's lives, and you see people backstab their homies over money, right? That's sadly something that we see a lot of in today's society. Any time in history, like people always backstab for more possessions, more money, anything like that, right? Like not always, not all people, but it's an issue, right? But what really is money at the end of the day? If you really think about it, it's just a currency that's given value. And the only value that money has is the value that we place upon it, right? Because our dollar isn't backed by gold or anything. The US dollar